Every 11 seconds, an older adult is treated in an emergency room for a fall-related injury. Every 19 minutes, one dies from it. Those aren't dramatic statistics invented to get your attention. A landmark review published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine, drawing on data from more than 40 clinical trials across 4 continents, confirmed that falls are now the leading cause of injury-related death in adults over 70. But here is what that same body of research also found. Targeted balance training, performed as briefly as 5 minutes per day, reduced fall rates in older adults by up to 34%. Not 34% after a year of physical therapy. After 8 weeks of a simple, at-home routine. Today, we are walking through that exact routine. 5 moves, 5 minutes. And the last move on this list is one most seniors have never tried. Researchers are calling it one of the most effective balance interventions available, and the vast majority of people over 70 have never heard of it. By the end of this video, you will have a complete, step-by-step balance routine you can start tomorrow morning. No gym, no equipment, no more than 5 minutes. We will cover why each move works on a neurological level, not just a muscular one, because understanding the why is what turns a routine into a lasting habit. We will also share the story of Eleanor, a 73-year-old retired schoolteacher from Ohio who went from gripping door frames to walking without a cane in under 6 weeks, using exactly this routine. And we will save move 5 for last, because it is genuinely surprising. It involves walking backward. And the science behind why it works is something most doctors have never explained to their patients. Stay with us. The sequence matters. Before we get into the routine, do us a quick favor. Drop a comment and tell us where you are watching from today and what time it is right now. This channel reaches people in dozens of countries, and we genuinely love seeing where everyone is tuning in from. Tell us below. We read every single one. Why balance goes wrong after 70, foundation. Before we walk through each move, it is worth spending 2 minutes on what is actually happening inside your body. Because once you understand the mechanism, these 5 exercises will make perfect sense, and you will be far more likely to keep doing them. Balance is not one system. It is a collaboration between 3 separate systems running simultaneously. First, your vision, the most dominant of the 3, responsible for orienting you in space. Second, your vestibular system, the fluid-filled chambers of your inner ear that detect head movement and tilt. Third, and most critical for fall prevention, your proprioceptive system, the vast network of sensory receptors embedded in your muscles, tendons, and joint capsules that constantly reports your body's position to your brain. After 60, all 3 systems begin to decline. By 70, research consistently shows that proprioceptive sensitivity can be reduced by as much as 30 to 40% compared to a healthy 30-year-old. The muscles of the ankle, knee, and hip, the 3 joints that catch you when you stumble, weaken faster than almost any other muscle group in the body during this decade of life. What that translates to in real daily terms is this: the automatic micro-corrections your body used to make without thinking, the tiny adjustments that kept you upright stepping off a curb, crossing wet tile, turning quickly to answer the phone. Those corrections slow down. They become less precise. When a stumble happens, the recovery response isn't there the way it once was. The good news is that this is trainable. Seen in recent research involving over 800 adults between the ages of 70 and 84, found that a consistent balance protocol, performed as little as 5 minutes per day, produced measurable improvements in both postural stability and neuromuscular reaction time within just 4 weeks. The body responds. It is not too late. It just needs the right daily input. This routine provides exactly that. Move 1. The single leg stand. The first move is the single leg stand. It is the foundation of this entire routine, and despite looking simple, it is doing something quite sophisticated inside your nervous system. Here is how to perform it correctly. Stand beside a sturdy chair, countertop, or kitchen sink, close enough to grab if needed, but not holding on. Shift your weight onto your right foot. Lift your left foot just 1 to 2 inches off the floor. Hold the position for 10 to 30 seconds. Return both feet to the ground, then repeat on the other side. That is 1 set. Complete 3 sets per side. What is happening at the ankle during this hold is the key. The stabilizing muscles along the outside of your lower leg, the peroneals, and the deeper muscle that runs along the inside, the tibialis posterior, are both firing in rapid, tiny pulses to keep you upright. These are precisely the muscles that slow down with age and fail to fire fast enough when a lateral stumble begins. You are not just building ankle strength, you are training the speed of your recovery reflex. Over the first 2 to 3 weeks, work up to holding for a full 30 seconds. Once 30 seconds feels stable, I add 1 small progression. Close your eyes for the final 5 seconds of each hold. That brief change removes your visual stabilization input, forcing your proprioceptive system to carry the full load. The difficulty increase is dramatic. The neurological benefit is even more so. A large-scale clinical study involving seniors over 65 found that regular single-leg standing practice, even with nearby support available, reduced ankle instability incidence by 41% over an 8-week period. Total time for this move in the routine, approximately 90 seconds. Patient case study, Eleanor. Eleanor was 73 and had spent 31 years as a 4th-grade teacher in a small town in central Ohio. She was not sedentary. She walked her neighborhood every morning, tended a large vegetable garden through spring and summer, and spent most weekends with her 2 young grandchildren. But 2 years after retiring, something had quietly shifted. She started holding the handrail going downstairs, even in her own home. She stopped walking on dewy grass. She began arriving early to church to avoid navigating the crowd on the steps. Her family doctor told her it was a normal part of aging. Her daughter left a cane in the hallway, just in case. Eleanor left the cane untouched. Instead, after finding this routine through a friend's recommendation, she committed to doing it every morning after her first cup of coffee, starting with the single leg stand. In the first 2 weeks, she could barely reach 10 seconds without grabbing the counter. By week 3, she was holding 20 seconds unassisted. At 4 weeks, she walked down her staircase without touching the railing for the first time in over a year. By the end of week 6, she was walking on the uneven garden path without hesitation. I thought losing my steadiness was just something that happened, she said. I didn't realize it was something I could actually fix. Eleanor's story might sound familiar. If you have noticed yourself reaching for walls, railings, or countertops more than you used to, or avoiding certain surfaces entirely, share it in the comments. You would be surprised how many people watching this right now have experienced the exact same thing and just assumed it was inevitable. Move 2. Heel-to-toe walk. Move 2 is the heel-to-toe walk, sometimes called tandem walking, and it shifts the training from static balance to dynamic balance, the kind required while you are actually in motion. Find a clear hallway or a stretch of open floor about 10 feet long. Walk slowly, placing the heel of your front foot directly against the toes of your back foot with each step, as though walking a tightrope. Keep your arms relaxed at your sides or lightly extended. Fix your gaze on a point at the far end of the hallway, not at your feet. Walk the full length, turn carefully, and walk back. That is 1 pass. Complete 3 passes. The specific mechanism being trained here is medial-lateral balance, the side-to-side stability that prevents the most common type of fall in adults over 70, which is a lateral stumble. The heel-to-toe walk narrows your base of support to a single line, which forces your hip abductors, so your ankle stabilizers, and your cerebellum, the part of the brain responsible for coordinating movement, to work together at a level that normal walking never demands. Looking down at your feet is instinctive, but resist it. Dropping your chin disrupts vestibular input from your inner ear and actually destabilizes the movement. Trust your feet. Keep your head level and your eyes forward. Medical experts agree that this exercise, performed consistently, reduces lateral sway during everyday walking within 3 to 4 weeks of daily practice. The narrower the step, the more your nervous system is forced to adapt. Total time for this move, approximately 60 to 75 seconds. Move 3 is the sit to stand, and it may be the most functionally important exercise on this entire list. Not because of what it builds in the gym, but because of what it mirrors in everyday life. Most falls in adults over 70 do not happen during walks or on staircases. They happen during transitions, the moment of rising from a chair, pivoting from a counter to a table, stepping out of a car. The sit-to-stand exercise trains the precise muscle chain responsible for all of those moments. Sit in a firm chair with your feet flat on the floor, hip-width apart. Cross both arms over your chest. No pushing off the armrests. No pushing off your knees. Lean slightly forward from the hips and stand using your leg strength alone. Then lower yourself back down slowly, aiming for a 3-second descent. The lowering phase is as important as the rise. That controlled eccentric work builds the deceleration capacity your muscles need to catch you when momentum takes over. Perform 10 repetitions. Rest for 30 seconds. Perform 10 more. The muscles being trained here are the quadriceps, the gluteus maximus, and the hip abductors, the primary power chain for upright stability and postural control. According to a well-cited review involving over 1,200 community-dwelling older adults, chair rise performance was among the strongest single predictors of fall risk over the following 12 months. The slower and more labored the sit to stand, the higher the risk. That relationship is consistent across age groups from 65 to 85. If 10 repetitions is difficult initially, begin with 5. Use your hands only on the first repetition to overcome inertia. Progress is the goal, not perfection on day 1. Total time for move 3, approximately 90 seconds. Here is something that genuinely surprises most people. The sit to stand may be a more reliable predictor of your fall risk over the next 12 months than any specialized balance test a doctor runs in the office. Be honest, did you already know that? Drop a yes or a no in the comments right now. Most people we hear from had absolutely no idea this simple move carried that kind of information. Move 4. Lateral weight shift. Move 4 directly trains the hip abductors, specifically the gluteus medius, and this is where most traditional balance programs fall short. They train the forward and backward plane almost exclusively. They almost never train the lateral plane, and yet the lateral plane is exactly where most falls happen. A sideways stumble, off a curb, into a threshold, to on uneven pavement, requires your hip abductors to fire within a fraction of a second to pull you back. In adults over 70 who have not specifically trained this movement pattern, that response is too slow. The body starts to go, and there is nothing to catch it. Here is how to train it. Stand behind a chair, feet hip-width apart, holding the top of the chair back lightly with both hands. Slowly shift your weight onto your right foot until your left foot just lifts free of the floor. Hold for 2 full seconds, Slowly return, then shift onto the left foot. That is 1 repetition. Perform 15 repetitions per side. As this becomes comfortable over 2 to 3 weeks, progress to performing the shift without holding the chair. A further progression. Add a slight bend at the knee during the shift, which recruits the gluteus medius more aggressively and more accurately replicates the mechanics of a real stumble recovery scenario. A study involving adults over 70 who completed a 6-week hip abductor strengthening protocol found that lateral balance scores and recovery response speed improved by 28% compared to a control group performing only forward plane exercises. Training the plane where falls actually occur produces results that forward-only training cannot replicate. Total time for move 4, approximately 60 to 75 seconds. Patient case study Walter. Walter was 77 and had spent most of his working life as an electrician in western Pennsylvania. He was the kind of man who built things with his hands on weekends, split his own firewood until his mid-70s, and had never once thought of himself as fragile. But over about 18 months, he had 3 near falls. The first was in the kitchen. The second was stepping off the back porch. The third, the one that finally rattled him, was a sideways stumble on his driveway that sent him grabbing the side mirror of his truck just barely in time. No injuries. But he stopped sleeping well after that. He started narrating his movements internally when he walked outside. He became, in his own words, careful in a way I never used to be. His wife found this routine and printed it out for him. Walter was skeptical about the 5-minute claim. He had expected something that looked more like a workout. But he did it every morning, starting slow, adding 1 move each week. In week 3, and something happened that he described as the clearest moment of progress he had ever felt in any exercise he had ever done. He stepped off a curb he had not noticed was there, and his body just adjusted, automatically, without a thought. No stumble, no grab, just a correction, as fluid as something 20 years younger. It was like the reflexes came back, he told his wife that evening. I didn't even have time to be scared. My body just handled it. That is proprioceptive retraining, working exactly as designed. The routine had not built bulk. It had rebuilt the neurological speed of his recovery response. Walter's 3 near falls before he found this routine. That's a story a lot of people recognize. Quick check-in. How many of these 4 moves are you already doing in some form? Honestly, drop your number in the comments. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 0. 0 is a completely valid answer. That's why you're here. Move. 5. Backward walking. This is the move most seniors have never tried, and based on a growing body of research in physical rehabilitation, it may be the single most powerful balance exercise on this entire list. Backward walking. Here is the science, and it is genuinely fascinating. When you walk forward, your brain leans heavily on your visual system. Your eyes dominate. Your proprioceptive system supports. When you walk backward, that hierarchy flips completely. Visual input from the forward field is removed. Your proprioceptive system must take primary command. Your cerebellum, the brain's movement coordination center, fires at a significantly elevated rate. Your ankle stabilizers, your knee stabilizers, and your hip abductors are recruited simultaneously and with greater precision than they ever are during forward walking. A study involving adults over 65, published in a leading physical rehabilitation journal, found that 8 weeks of regular backward walking practice produced significantly greater improvements in balance assessment scores and self-reported walking confidence than a matched forward walking group. Participants who added backward walking to their routine showed measurable gains in neuromuscular reaction time that simply did not appear in the control group. The researchers noted that the balance centers of the brain appeared to respond to backward walking as a novel and demanding stimulus, the kind of challenge that drives neurological adaptation in a way that familiar, practiced movements cannot. Here is how to perform it safely. Use a clear, unobstructed hallway. Stand at one end with your back toward the far wall. Walk backward slowly, placing your toes down first, followed by your heel, the exact reverse of normal gait. Keep your head level and your chin neutral. You do not need to look over your shoulder constantly. A brief check every 3 or 4 steps is sufficient and safe. Walk the full length of the hallway backward. Turn carefully. Walk back. That is 1 pass. Begin with 2 passes. Work up to 4 passes over the course of 2 weeks. For those with significant balance concerns, perform this move with a family member or caregiver present for the first several sessions, or use a hallway where both walls are within comfortable arm's reach. Once you are confident, add a small cognitive challenge. Hold a lightweight object in both hands. A water bottle works well while walking backward. The added mental demand further activates the balance centers of the brain and accelerates adaptation. Total time for move 5, approximately 45 to 60 seconds, and that completes the routine. Complete routine. Quick reference. For clarity, here is the full sequence in order. Move 1, single leg stand, 3 sets per side, 10 to 30 seconds each hold. Support nearby. Progress to eyes closed for the final 5 seconds. Move 2, heel to toe walk, 3 passes down a 10-foot hallway. Gaze forward, chin level. Move 3, sit to stand, 2 sets of 10 repetitions. No arm assistance. 3-second lowering phase. Move 4, lateral weight shift, 15 repetitions per side. Start with chair support. Progress without. Move 5, backward walking, 2 to 4 hallway passes. Toes, first contact, clear path only. 5 moves, roughly 5 minutes. Every single morning. The daily frequency is not a preference, it is the mechanism. Recent research involving seniors over 70 who performed brief balance training protocols daily versus 3 times per week found that the daily group demonstrated nearly twice the improvement in postural stability scores after 6 weeks. Frequency outperforms duration in balance training. 5 minutes every day is not just acceptable, it is, based on current evidence, optimal. Of course, everyone's health situation is different, so always discuss any changes to your routine with your healthcare provider, particularly if you are managing joint conditions, dizziness, or recent surgeries that may affect your stability. Before we get to your action steps, take just 1 moment. What is the 1 move from today's routine that you are going to do tomorrow morning? Just 1 to start. Write it in the comments. Research on habit formation consistently shows that publicly committing to a specific behavior significantly increases follow-through. Tell us which move you are starting with. We want to know. Action steps. Here are your 5 action steps. Specific, concrete, and completely startable today. Step 1. Set your space up tonight. Walk to the spot where you will perform this routine tomorrow morning. A hallway, a clear stretch of kitchen floor, a bedroom with enough open space. Remove anything you could trip on. Position a firm chair nearby for moves 1, 3, and 4. Having your environment ready eliminates every excuse when the morning comes. On step 2, use the 2-move start strategy for the first 3 days. Behavior research consistently shows that smaller initial commitments produce higher completion rates and faster habit formation. Do only move 1 and move 3 for the first 3 days. That is under 2 minutes. By day 4, add move 2. By day 7, you are doing all 5. A small beginning done consistently beats a perfect plan abandoned after 1 attempt. Step 3. Attach the routine to something you already do. This is habit stacking, one of the most well-validated techniques in behavioral science. After your first cup of coffee, after brushing your teeth, after getting dressed. Anchor this routine to an existing habit, and it stops requiring willpower. It becomes a natural extension of something you already do automatically. Step 4. Track your single-leg stand time on a notepad. Every morning, write down how many seconds you held move 1 before needing support. This number will grow week over week. Watching it grow is powerful motivation, and motivation sustains habits where willpower fades. Your target is 30 seconds unassisted by the end of week 4 to 6. Step 5. Ask your doctor or physical therapist for a baseline balance assessment within the next 30 days. Two widely used tests, the Berg Balance Scale and the Timed Up and Go, are quick, require no special equipment, and give you a concrete numerical baseline to compare against in 90 days. When you repeat this routine for 3 months and then retest, the difference in your numbers will tell you exactly how much your nervous system has rebuilt. That kind of objective feedback is powerful. Balance is not a fixed thing that disappears with age. It is a trainable system that responds to consistent, specific input. Eleanor found that out at 73. Walter found it at 77. And thousands of people over 70 are discovering right now that 5 deliberate minutes every morning can produce a quality of steadiness they thought was behind them. Now here is our question for you. Have you had a close call, a stumble, a near fall, a moment where you caught yourself and thought, that was too close? Share it in the comments, not as a warning, but because your experience is exactly what someone else watching this needs to hear to finally start. If today's video gave you something useful, subscribe to Senior Health Decoded. We publish weekly videos built around the real science of staying strong, sharp, and independent well past 70. So hit the notification bell so you do not miss what is coming next. And if you know someone who has been struggling with their balance or their confidence on their feet, share this with them today. The best thing you can do with information that actually works is pass it on.